between two titans of the New York music scene hits the sex trafficking and racketeering trial of Sean Diddy Combs. Why 50 Cent was brought up this week during emotional witness testimony. In 50, they've been at odds for a long time. And now, one of them's facing the possibility of spending the rest of their life in federal prison, and the other is not holding back or hiding the apparent joy they find in that possibility happening with a guilty verdict.
Nobody expected 50 Cent to show up in this courtroom for years. He's taken shots at Diddy on social media, joking, clowning, calling him out in his usual way. But when he walked through those doors and took the stand under oath, everything changed. This wasn't trolling anymore. This wasn't rap beef. This was war. And what 50 Cent brought with him wasn't just petty gossip. It was a grenade. No one saw it coming. 50 Cent walking into that courtroom was the last thing anyone expected. For years, he'd mocked Diddy online, throwing jabs, cracking jokes, and stirring drama like he always does. But the moment he stepped through those doors and swore to tell the truth, the tone shifted completely. This wasn't internet trolling. This wasn't some rap feud. This was a declaration of war. And what 50 brought with him wasn't hearsay. It was a bombshell ready to explode.
Sean Diddy Combs and 50 Cent. These two go back a long time. They have been rivals for a long time. And this week we learned that, at least from Diddy's side of things, this feud apparently went far beyond words. 50 Cent's name came up during the testimony this week of Capricorn Clark. She is a former assistant of Sean Combs who went on to become the head of marketing for his Sean John clothing brand. Clark rose successfully and professionally through the ranks of Diddy's world during her time working for him, which stretched between 2004 to 2018, so she saw a lot. Clark claimed that Diddy would threaten her, and she says he even kidnapped her in 2011. All of this matters as we build up to how 50 Cent kind of factors into what she said on the stand. Now, Capricorn Clark started working for Bad Boy after she worked for Death Row Records. Now that's surprising, since Death Row was ran by perhaps Diddy's most hated enemy, Suge Knight. Clark said that one of her good friends had a baby with Suge Knight, and that's how she knew him. And in perhaps the most shocking story from her testimony, Clark claimed that shortly after she started working for Diddy, Diddy and his security guards took her to Central Park after dark, and Diddy said, quote, "He told me he didn't know that I had anything to do with Suge Knight, and if anything happened, he would have to kill me." It is an allegation that paints Combs as someone who is ready to take a life. But as Capricorn Clark's testimony continued, she brought up another rival of Sean Diddy Combs and another allegation that he made an ominous threat of violence. Clark testified, when working for Diddy, they went to a press event at MTV and 50 Cent was there. And just wait until you hear what she says Diddy told 50's manager. 50 Cent's real name is Curtis Jackson. He rose to fame in the early 2000s. You might remember songs like In the Club. You might remember that he was the leader of the rap group G-Unit. Now, 50 grew up in Jamaica, Queens, New York. Diddy, also a New York native. He was born in Harlem, grew up in Mount Vernon, New York, just about 20 miles away. And even though they both had success in music, they both rose to fame representing the city of New York and the rap scene there, they have been longtime rivals. In 2006, 50 Cent released a diss track about Diddy. So almost 20 years ago, this goes back a long way. And in that diss track, he says, quote, "Who shot Biggie Smalls? We don't get them. They gon' kill us all. Man, Puffy know who hit that expletive. Man, that expletive soft." Now, 50 is accusing Combs there of knowing who killed his friend, the notorious B.I.G. Christopher Wallace. Wallace and Puffy were incredibly close, but Wallace was shot and killed in a drive-by shooting in Los Angeles in 1997, and no one has ever been charged for pulling the trigger. This all happened during really the height of the East Coast, West Coast rap rivalry of the 90s, which involved Suge Knight, who we mentioned earlier. 50 Cent has also accused Diddy of orchestrating the murder of death row rapper Tupac Shakur, who died in 1996 in a Las Vegas drive-by shooting.
The courtroom didn't see it coming. Diddy definitely didn't see it coming. And once 50 started speaking, there was no turning back. He began with the simplest line: "I've known Sean for a long time, longer than most people here. I know the public Diddy, but I also know the private one." And with that, the tension cracked wide open. 50's tone wasn't loud or theatrical. It was cold, focused, dead serious. He said he never wanted to be part of this. Casey said he tried to stay away, but when he saw the stories coming out, when he heard what was being said, he knew he had to speak, not just to take a shot at a rival, but because he saw things, heard things, knew things, and they were darker than anybody on the outside could imagine. The courtroom didn't see it coming, and Diddy definitely didn't. But once 50 Cent started talking, there was no going back. He opened with a simple, chilling line, asterisk, I've known Sean a long time, longer than most people here. I know the public Diddy, but I also know the private one. Asterisk, and just like that, the tension shattered. Point 50 wasn't loud. He wasn't dramatic. His voice was calm, precise, deadly serious.
This is Dwayne Keith D. Davis. He was arrested in September 2023, and he is the only person facing charges related to Tupac's murder. But 50 Cent has continued to push the allegation that Sean Combs either knows something or did something for Tupac to end up dead, though Diddy has denied that. But in a 2023 Instagram post, 50 wrote, damn, so Pac got lined by brother love, LOL, time to lawyer up, expletive, might get sticky, with a pic of Suge Knight in a car with Tupac. Diddy, who has a lot of names, Puff Daddy, Puffy, Puff, and Brother Love is one of those other names. Now from Diddy's side of things, again, he's denied having anything to do with Tupac's murder, and he's also denied having anything to do with Christopher Wallace's death, and he's denied publicly having issues with 50 Cent. Here's what Combs said when he was asked about a beef with 50 in a 2018 interview with the radio show The Breakfast Club, Power 105.1 FM.
Hey, yo, I don't have no beef with
I don't know why.
With Fifth. He loves me. He loves me.
Do y'all really
can't
have
see
a
it?
beef?
I mean, y'all can't see it.
No, we can't see
Y'all
it,
can't
man.
see that he loves me?
But see,
You really think that's hate?
If you look at 50's social media, you can see he has a lot of posts about Diddy. And this is what he posted the day that federal agents in Miami raided Combs' mansion ahead of his arrest on the charges that he's now on trial for. 50 Cent posted on X, now it's not Diddy do it, it's Diddy done. They don't come like that unless they got a case. 50 Cent also included a link to his G-Unit clothing brand in that post. While Diddy in the Breakfast Club clip said that 50 Cent actually loves him and there was never a beef, on the stand this week, Capricorn Clark said otherwise. Clark said that she was at this press event at MTV with Diddy and 50 Cent was also there, all of this happening in New York. Clark said, quote, after the interview wrapped up, myself, Puff, and Chris Lighty got in the elevator. Clark said that Lighty was an entertainment manager who on paper was managing Diddy at the time, but was also 50 Cent's manager at the time. Prosecutors asked Clark what happened in the elevator, and she said, quote, Puff told Chris, because they were having some sort of issue, like, I really don't like all the back and forth. I don't do that. I like guns. The prosecutor then asked, what's the issue with an individual? And Clark responded, he had an issue with 50 Cent. She said Combs was very serious when he said that. In this case, it has become common to hear testimony from witnesses about alleged threats by Diddy. In fact, several witnesses have said that Diddy regularly threatened to fire people, to beat people, like his former girlfriend Cassie Ventura, and in this case, making a threat involving firearms to settle a dispute per the testimony of someone who was one of his closest associates for more than a decade. Invoking gun violence and some sort of veiled threat, that could be scary for some, but apparently not 50 Cent.
He talked about parties, not the ones posted online, the private ones, the exclusive ones that only happened after the cameras were off and the phones were gone. He said Diddy had a reputation in the industry, not just for being flashy or rich, but for creating these spaces where the rules didn't exist, spaces where the lines between pleasure, power, and manipulation got blurred. And he didn't mince words, he called it predatory. He said Diddy thrived on control, that he'd watch people test them, push them, see how far they were willing to go, and when someone resisted, they were frozen out quietly, permanently. 50 told a story about a night. He said he'll never forget it was years ago. He'd been invited to a private suite after a music event Diddy was hosting. At first, it looked like any other celebrity after party bottles, music, famous faces. But something felt off. People were acting nervous. Some of the guests looked like they didn't.